Welcome to this kickoff meeting for the PMP exam brought to you by Project Management Masterclass.com, your one-stop shop for PMP exam training and coaching live via Zoom. Today we're going to talk about the PMP exam specifically, and we might touch on the CAPM, but let's jump straight into the content. My name's Phil. I've been a PMP project management professional since 2005, and that means I've seen quite a number of PMBOK guides. I've seen the PMBOK Guide 2nd edition all the way to the 7th edition. So I have done my rounds as far as being a trainer and coach in this regard. I started off training my colleagues at a well-known firm called Honeywell. I got over 50 of them certified, and I had the opportunity of making my status as trainer permanent in '09. Before that, I did a lot of project management consulting, training, and coaching, but I made it official. I worked for Skillsoft for a little bit, but now I have a firm called Praizion that trains project management to companies worldwide. So let's talk about what we're looking at today. We're going to have a quick overview of project management. We're going to talk about what exactly the PMP exam is all about. We're going to talk about how you can get started on your PMP application. We'll take a look at the PMP exam content outline at a high level. And by the time we're done, you will have a very clear idea about the PMP exam. Did you know that 90% of global senior executives rank project management as either critical or somewhat important to their ability to deliver successful projects and remain competitive? That's a staggering number, 90%. This underscores that project management is here to stay and that it is important for those who are project managers to show themselves as being proven, trusted professionals. And this is where the PMI comes in. The Project Management Institute is a leading global association for project management. They were founded in 1969, and they have been extremely instrumental in putting project management on the map, in standardizing project management through the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide and many other publications. The PMP is their flagship certification, and you can see the astronomical growth since 1984, where there were just 40 PMPs, till at the time of this presentation in 2015, there were 655,000. Today in 2022, my friends, there's over 1.25 million PMPs. One of the books that you'll hear a lot of chatter about in this PMP space is the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide. And the Project Management Body of Knowledge is a great reference for the PMP exam, and it contains a common lexicon for project management. Now you might have the question, what do I need to show? What do I need to do to be eligible to take the exam? Well, you do need a high school diploma and 5 years of non-overlapping project management experience and 35 hours of formal education. Or if you've got a bachelor's degree, then you need 3 years of unique non-overlapping project management experience. If you went to a GAC accredited program, then you only need 2 years of non-overlapping project management experience and 35 contact hours of education. Now, what exactly is the PMP exam? It's 180 multiple choice questions, 230 minutes. Only 175 of the questions count because there are 5 pretest questions. The passing score is currently undisclosed, so don't listen to anyone telling you, we know the passing score. No, they don't. The PMI also evaluates proficiency levels, so if you're above target, below target, needs improvement, they'll make it clear. Now, you might have the question, this project management topic is vast. Where do I even start? Well, let's start off by talking about the exam and how it's broken down, and then it might make more sense. The exam is broken down into 2 big buckets when you look at it at a high level. The 2 big buckets are Agile and Hybrid and Predictive. In other words, 50% of the exam will be Agile and Hybrid, and another 50% is Predictive. Now, those who take the exam, they actually report otherwise. Those who take the exam have some more colorful descriptions of how the exams went. So here's a very quick poll for you before we go any further. How much Agile and hybrid project management does PMI say is on the exam based on what I just told you? Well, if you guessed 50%, you're right. That's the right answer. Now, how much agile and hybrid project management do students say is actually on the exam? It might amaze you, but a number of students say it's over 65%. But remember, there's always outliers. So I have some students who say my exam was 70% predictive. I had a student who said my exam was 90% predictive. So it really depends on the exam that you take. But one more time, how many questions are on the exam? The right answer, 180, just like I showed you. So here's a look at the exam. You got people, process, and business. People is 42%, process is 50%, and business is 8%. People is all about human interactions. Project management in either an agile, predictive, or hybrid setting has to do a lot with people. So the people domain is all about that. Process is all about the processes, the tools, and techniques. Very process driven, and 50% of the exam is process. And then business is 8% of the exam. So you got a pie chart that looks like this. So you could break it down by people, process, business. But whatever you do, remember that breakdown, the two big buckets. Okay? Now, what does the exam consist of? You take a look. There are different kinds of questions. You've got hotspot type questions. You've got drag and drops. You got just regular short questions, but they're not all short. A lot of the questions are as long as what you're seeing on the screen. Maybe even longer for some folks. So just keep that in mind. And then we could have other types of questions where you need to click somewhere on the screen. As I said earlier, the PMP exam is 180 questions in 230 minutes. Not 240 like it was before, it's 230. How many official breaks are there on the PMP exam? Well, you got a break every 60 questions, so there are two breaks, a break at 60 and a break at 120. Now, to better understand this exam, you got to understand the Stacy model. Stacy complexity model just shows you that on the y-axis, you've got requirements uncertainty, and on the x-axis, you've got technical uncertainty. If you're working on a project where it's very simple, or maybe not simple, but close to agreement in terms of the requirements, close to certainty in terms of how you're going to do what you need to do, that's the simple zone. And that's where the predictive approach works best. But if you're getting into complexity and anarchy, chaos, then Agile works best there. And someone might say, why Agile? Well, Agile first and foremost is a mindset. And it's not about being strong, it's about being nimble. It's not the strongest of the species that survives. You think about it. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. It's been shown over and over again. So what did I just say? Agile it's a mindset. That's what it is, a mindset. Now, there's a lot of thinking in industry. When you ask people about Agile, they say it's just for IT. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Well, wake up, smell the coffee. Agile is not just about IT. It's being used in various industries worldwide, and that's why the PMI is emphasizing it. To learn more about Agile, I would highly recommend going to the Agile Manifesto website. It's at agilemanifesto.org, and this is where you can read the Agile Manifesto values and the Agile Manifesto principles. And the basic principles are very humanistic. They focus on people, focus on interrelationships, focus on the customer, and things such as that. Someone might say, why Agile? Well, in this survey from the PMI, it shows that organizations increasingly embrace Agile as a technique for managing projects. And a full 71% of organizations reported using Agile for their projects, sometimes, often, or always. Now, someone might say, what's in it for me? Why do I need to be Agile? Why do I need to think Agile? Well, it could benefit you because it's become a mainstream competency. Agile knowledge and experience is valuable for careers, and the PMI recognizes this as a framework that has to be built in. So the Agile Practice Guide shows you different frameworks that are of an agile nature. The PMI recognizes that Agile is here to stay. They've got on the bandwagon, and the Agile Practice Guide is evidence and proof of that. But don't get me wrong, Agile is a mindset, and we have various frameworks that espouse the Agile mindset. So you could say there are methods, there are frameworks, and there are practices that are Agile in nature. But the overarching idea is that Agile is a mindset. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of responding to the never, ever changing world around you, the ever changing world around you. When you take a look at this iron triangle, it goes a little bit further to explain what happens in the world of predictive versus agile. So in the world of traditional or predictive, which is the yellow triangle, you can see scope is fixed. But when you look at the world of adaptive or agile, you can see that scope is flexible. So scope is fixed, but in agile it's flexible, so the triangle is inverted. Your exam is going to test you on significant amounts of agile. Even if you get a more predictive type exam, you will still be heavily tested about the world of agile. And it's for this reason our training at Project Management Masterclass focuses very heavily on agile. In fact, the moment we bring you in, we're showing you agile concepts and principles. We're also making it very clear that the world of agile in PMI world has some nuances like this, the continuum of life cycles, for you to be able to know when to be predictive, when to be iterative, when to be incremental, when to be agile. We really stress that. Okay. So the exam, like I said, it will test you on people, process, and business from an agile perspective, a hybrid perspective, and also a predictive perspective. The best way of understanding the predictive environment, going over to predictive, is through the 5 process groups of initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. When you've got a firm idea of the process groups, you'll be well on your way to understanding concepts like page 25. This is a well-known page. It's become a regular staple for the PMP exam, and those who go take the exam, this is one of the rites of passage, and you need to understand what exactly it means. You need to understand the process flow. So you're going to hear that quite a bit. Every one of these processes on the screen has inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. Now, while the exam does not give you a boatload of questions from tools, techniques, and outputs and inputs, you do need to know them sufficiently well. And our training really hones in on that and gets you to a point where you are very familiar, very aware of this. So, what does it look like when you're coming aboard to learn with us for the PMP exam? Well, the cycle of life is like this. We send out study aids to you, our students, and ultimately you're going to come into class. There's going to be a kickoff meeting similar to this. You're going to start some little studying on the learning system, but ultimately you're going to come into the course. You're going to finish the course, take the mock exam. We'll give you a certificate of completion. You apply for the exam. You're now eligible and you can pay for the exam. And after you pay for the exam, you could get an email approval back, or you could be audited. And an audit just means show proof of your education, show proof of your work experience, and then you send in the information, you pass the audit, you schedule the exam, and bear in mind only about 10 to 20% of individuals are randomly audited. It's a random selection. But the bottom line is you get to step 12 and you pass the exam. All right? And how much does the exam cost? Well, here are the fees. Member fees are $139. If you are a member of the PMI, it helps because you get a copy of the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, this one right here. You get a PDF copy of this. You also get the most current PMBOK guide, which is the 7th edition as well. And in addition to that, you get the Agile Practice Guide and any other standards. So it does make sense to be a member because you get PDF downloads of all the standards that are available while you're a member. If you are not a member of the PMI, the exam is $555. If you are a member of the PMI, it's $405. So do the math. It makes sense to be a member. Someone says, Phil, what happens if I'm not successful on the exam? Well, if you're not successful on your first try, you got 2 other tries. And it's $275 for each retest if you are a member. If you're not a member, it's $375. Okay. But for those that come on our program, on the journey with us, we give you a ton of support and direction. You've got mock exams to test out your firepower and determine if you're truly ready for the exam. All right. So if this sounds like something you want to do, you need to start the journey. Go on down to projectmanagementmasterclass.com. We're having upcoming training. Check out the schedule. If you want a trainer and a coach that has been there, done that, and is extremely passionate about your success, you need to go on down to Project Management Masterclass. Sign up and let's begin this journey together. And honestly, for a lot of our students, it's a lifelong journey because you never really stop learning, do you? If it's been done the right way, every day is a lesson. And every time you do something, you find a better way of doing it. You find a way of improving and you teach others. So learning project management is a journey, and we would love for you to journey with us, learn with us, grow with us, develop. Many of our students started off with very, very low salaries, and then after getting certified, their salaries went up, they changed jobs, and they're making high 6 figures. So if this sounds like something you want to do, don't even miss a beat. Go on down to projectmanagementmasterclass.com. I look forward to seeing you in the classroom. And if you have any questions, do send them in. Put a comment below or just send an email to info@praizion.com. That's Praizion as it's spelled on the screen up there, info@praizion.com. It will be a pleasure to answer any questions. It's a lot of content, I know, even just this kickoff. There's so much stuff in here that to get your arms around it conveniently, it requires several iterations. Again, my name is Phil, your colleague, your friend. I'll be your host taking you through this journey. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.